Justin Lukvar with an album review of the Underachievers' latest project, Evermore, The Art of Duality. It's a golden AK formed the Underachievers, a hip-hop duo from Flatbush, Brooklyn, New York, formed in 2011. And not surprisingly, they were signed very quickly in 2013 to the independent record label Brainfeeder, formed by Flying Lotus, a rapper producer you should check out. Um, Evermore, The Art of Duality is their second official studio album, and the Underachievers have accomplished a lot musically with other projects, including forming the supergroup Beast Coast with Pro Era and Flatbush Zombies. It's a golden AK's combo as lyricist, and the contrast between their vocal delivery is where a lot of the entertainment comes from in this project. The whole time listening to it, I'm thinking of the classic duo Andre 3000 and Big Boy of Outkast. What I mean by that is is the Andre hopping on and off of the beat and providing the thought-provoking lyrics, and then AK ends up being the hype man. But don't think that that I see AK as a lesser contributor to the project, because the best way to say it is that AK has some serious rhythm. He's on top of the beat constantly, and his timing makes me smile because I'm so pissed off that it's so clean. Looking at the title, Evermore, The Art of Duality, the Underachievers find interesting ways to apply their definition of the concept of duality to their music and to the overall message of the album. Tracks 1 through 7 offer real life instances and real life experiences to show evidence of the constant struggle between these two choices, especially in a place such as Flatbush, crime ridden, gang territory, certainly a place where a young man has to make a constant decision between the lesser of two evils. The Underachievers are very autobiographical in what they call the phase 1 of the album, pointing to their drug use, pointing to their failures in school, and ultimately finding their way to survive in a place that Isa Gold refers to as destined to produce failure. The message is very clear. Finding the inspiration to drag yourself out of this negative environment is, according to the Underachievers, merely within yourself. You won't find anyone to pull you out. That has to happen on your own hard work and determination. And the music is melancholy, but with the help of the talented producer Nick Leon, the first half has a very heavy psychedelic atmosphere, allowing the thought-provoking lyrics of Isa Gold to take precedence. And this matches perfectly to their references of lucid dreaming, to LSD use, and searching for their definition of God, which I believe they end up pointing to themselves, pointing to the fact that they have the power of creation, that they have the power to change their circumstances. Then tracks 8 through 15 are used to contrast the idea of self-reliance and turn not only musically darker, but lyrically harsher, showing aggression and dominance, a lot of alpha dog mentality. A lot of banger, club, trap influence takes hold of the music. Distortion is added, giving the aggressive lyrics a place to grasp onto. This is where AK shines, in my opinion, especially on the track Generation Z. AK has a fresh and chopped delivery of lyrics. He's intending to show the unmatched loyalty of the generation which grew up in Flatbush, and boasting about their authenticity as products of America's impoverished neighborhoods. I love the fact that the first half of the album is almost like a self-help book, like showing you how to find your own way out, pointing the way, asking, are you bettering yourself, or are your actions putting you in a worse outcome? But then the second half shows that even when you get out, you're constantly having to prove that you can still relate to those left behind. People begin to question your authenticity, and the main part of duality is that the darker side is constantly trying to pull you back. The first half points to the humble beginnings of the Underachievers, points to their epiphany that they are the masters of their environment. But then the second shows that this is almost a lie, because they have to find that middle ground between changing their choices without losing what defined them. Their past is what defines them now, which ultimately ends up conditioning their current decision making. Overall, the Underachievers were successful in creating a project that exemplifies their exploration of duality. But where I feel they excelled lyrically, they fell short musically, um, especially in the first half. When I first listened to the album, people were going to hate me for saying this, but I got bored. Um, the first half felt like we hadn't traveled anywhere musically. There were build-ups to drops that never happened, or when it did, I'm thinking, I just heard this. A lot of deja vu was going on. Um, and I can't blame the Underachievers for this. Because if you go back to the track listing, you'll see that the first 4 tracks are produced by the same guy, Nick Leon. Um, I love the scene that he creates in the first track. The intro vibe matches perfect to the directionless feelings of AK and the battle of depression that Is a Gold deals with. But track 2 comes and nothing's changed. Musically, like we're still sitting in that melancholy psychedelic atmosphere, and then this just continues. The best example I have is listen to around minute 6 and then just like immediately skip over to 9:15, 9:20, and it's the exact same melody. Just with a simple change from a guitar sample to a piano, and that damn synth is like a constant. It ends up being like a 15-minute drone. The first 4 songs follow the same formula. Build it up, drop it all down to the synth, so you have space for the hook, and that's fine. But after building it up, like, where have you taken me? Nowhere. We never left. It's the same bass line, the same synth. I'm looking for linear progression forward along with the lyrical idea. I don't want to keep going along this merry-go-round ending up at the same place. The bass line doesn't change until track 5, The Duelist, but I love this track. The complexity, the introduction of live instrumentation, and the trumpet counterpoint. The bass line is like a James Jamerson lick, if you're familiar with that. Once again, looking back to the track list, the only reason the music changes is because of the contribution of the producer Evan and Wale. His SoundCloud account shows you that he definitely loves live music and jazz. But a change in complexity, for me, doesn't necessarily mean travel to a new musical environment. I'll give it to Nick Leon and the Underachievers that the first 4 tracks are lyrically and musically one song, but then that ends up being a 15-minute song. Nick Leon is talented for sure, but a better arrangement of the influence from the various contributing producers would have given this album a lot more direction. But definitely it was a good choice to have Nick Leon present in the second half to give a musical example of duality where the dark and the light, the good and the bad, have a very clear relationship to the previous and the latter. The second half of the album, thank God for the producer ignorance, because it turns very quickly into trap banger, like non-stop aggression. And I love it. I want to be angry when I'm listening to it. Handed to the producer Aston Benz for providing the perfect backdrop for AK to get angry, express his disgust that you would even question his authenticity or his willingness to knock you the fuck out. Dirty, distorted bass lines that most people crave start creeping in, and the track Moonshot is a good example of the distorted musical environment in which AK and Izza can prove their undying support for the Beast Coast movement, and that even though they moved coast, they went from Flatbush to Cali, they aren't going to sell out, and their drive is 10 times more than any of their competition. I love the line where they say they don't fuck the same bitches, which I think is allusion to the fact that somehow those who are considered popular rappers today are involved in an incestuous exchange of groupie girls. I just think it's hilarious. The second half is a perfect contrast to the first because the darker music of the second half, where they say they made it into the light that they were seeking during the first half of the album, is unexpected. If you're seeking light, you would assume you were in the dark, but the Underachievers switched that, finding another way to play with the idea of duality. I love that they make clear, conscious decisions during the production of this album. I give the album a 7 out of 10, and that's not to say I didn't enjoy it. In fact, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm probably being harsh on them, but that's because I can see the potential that the Underachievers have. Clearly, they've been working on their talents and tools in lyrics, and having a cohesive thought and theme throughout the project. But when you have so many missed opportunities to contrast or support what you're doing musically, it shows that they definitely have room for improvement. And I only look forward to what the Underachievers will bring out in the future, as long as they continue to apply that clear, conscious decision making that they did to this project.